Alright, well here we go. I think I've kind of got this thing put together where I want it. Made a few changes since I built it. I did have to change the fuel rail. I was not able to use the billet fuel rail I wanted. Slightly disappointed, but not everything works out the way you want it to. I did get my trail tech installed. I'll probably end up with it down here, but for right now, we'll leave it there. Very peppy. That ain't it. It is icy, icy, icy. Right out of the gate, I lost the air-fuel ratio gauge, which I need, and then this. So that was just turned off. What's going on with the air-fuel ratio gauge? Well, darn it, how do I ride without an air-fuel ratio gauge? I should have probably left the Corso on. At this point, I might have to do a little rethinking of how I have this set up. Because So here's the situation that I'm in, you guys. The air-fuel ratio gauge isn't working. So for those of you guys that understand the importance of that, you already know the big deal there is. But for those of you that don't know, riding a snowmobile like this, that's making boost like this with no air-fuel ratio gauge, it'd be like flying a fighter jet through a canyon blindfolded. Like, you'll fly for a while, for sure. But when you smash into something like a lean situation, you're cooked. So that's the situation that I got here, is that we no air fuel ratio gauge. The fuel box is obviously working because it is wherever it just is right here is close enough to where it seems to want to dig. But this is basically a sheet of ice out here. So, and I'm by myself. So I've got the sled here potentially making close to 300 horsepower at this point. I mean, it could be making 270, 280. I was seeing 13 pounds of boost. I got to be a little bit careful out here by myself. I got to be a little bit smart. This was a test and tune to make sure that the fuel box is running. The fuel box is running. Air fuel ratio gauge is not working. So, boy, I really like this setup, but there's so much gauges up there now. If you guys don't remember, in my previous video, I talked about how I hate gauges, and look at this. Look at this guy. Look at all these gauges. The gauges galore. You think you have a lot of gauges, but I have much more. So, yeah, I mean, the truth is I could hurt myself out here, and by myself, that's not good. So I am going to turn around, I'm going to go back, I'll make some turbo sounds on the way back, load this thing up, but let's call this a success. I mean, I would say we got to call this a success. So there we go. I got called out by one of the viewers. I think maybe my only viewer, about not posting a video. I thought my cousin was my only viewer, but apparently I got a couple guys watching. So here we go. This is exactly how I would have built this thing back in 2010 if I had the money to do it in 2010. Luckily, in 2026, I don't have the money for one of the new Polaris Boost or one of those new fancy Skidoo turbos. So I went back and built this thing I wanted, and I'm tickled to death about it. So I'm gonna go make some boost runs on the way home. I'm gonna get back home and figure out the air fuel ratio situation. But I'm happy. I think we have a winner. We don't have a winner as far as the Washington winter goes, but I think as far as this sled goes, I'm gonna be happy. I like how clean that was coming through the power. Man, it came up on the power so smooth. So, mind you, I do believe this box is set up the exact way Neil McLaren from Boosted sent it to me. I don't think I made a whole lot of adjustments in it. So, cheers to that guy. This is just too beautiful not to look at. Yeah. Oh, the sight. Just so pretty. So pretty. Figured it was worth a stop just to look. I mean, yeah, that's nice too. But this is the goods. The goods is right here, this thing. Running like a top. Air fuel ratio gauge is, well, there's something to be desired there, but alright, we're getting warm back there for sure, but it definitely feels like even on this it might be cooling a little bit. So here we are, guys. Pretty stoked. I feel like a little boy. This is pretty nice toy thing. Alright, we'll make a few more boost sounds, get her loaded up, head home. That's all for today. Gotta keep it PG. Can't get wild with it. But I will get wild with this, you guys. I have, now that this is just about done, once I get the gauge situation figured out, I will move right on to the next project. I already gave you a little glimpse of the Propex that we're building, but we got some other things coming too. Okay, well, that's pretty much going to conclude my little test and tune. There's nothing I can do with clutching on conditions like this. There's really nothing I can do on fueling with conditions like this. But like I said, I have a trip planned out to McCall. Probably go up to Revy a couple times. This will be coming along on every one. Alright, well, I'm just getting back into the truck here. I got the sled loaded up. So here's my quick takeaway. I don't like the gauge setup at all. There's just too much gauges going on, and I don't like that. I do think I like the air fuel ratio gauge there because I like them to be together. So generally, once I go and get the fuel set up close, I don't have to do a whole lot of adjusting. So kind of trying to figure out where I'm going to go with that, but I do know that I don't like what I got going on, and I obviously have that air fuel ratio gauge hooked up to the wrong relay because it's turning off shortly after I get going. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do as far as gauges go. I like that gauge, but that's just not going to work. I got to do something different there. So once I get that gauge figured out, I'm also going to move the Trail Tech gauge, because while I'm sure that gauge is going to be fantastic for buddy tracking, in my opinion, the RPM, the tack on it is unusable. It's accurate at idle maybe, but like it doesn't respond fast enough to be usable. So I am gonna have to figure out a gauge for that darn sled, because the setup I got just isn't it. It's not the one. So anyways, that's what I got. I will get a little bit of video of me taking these gauges back apart, but there it is. That's the sled running. That's using the boosted feel box. And I'll tell you what, those things, they never cease to impress me how good those things run. So anyways, I will I'll get some more videos uploaded as soon as I get some more snow. You can see how pathetic the snow is here. It should be up over the sides of the truck on each side, and we barely got a foot over there. So pray for snow, guys.